Hi guys, how we doing?
Good morning.
Are your mics working?
Hello.
Okay, awesome. So hi, welcome to Why Fully Onchain Games. First I'll go around and introduce everyone. So I'm Calc. I'm a contributor to Realms, also known as BiblioDAO. I'm currently working mostly on a thing called Front of House, where essentially we give out money to builders in the ecosystem. Enough about me now. First off, do you want to go?
Yeah, hello. My name's Sean, but I go by Secretive. Yeah, I would contribute to the Realms project, which is a on-chain gaming ecosystem and network built by a DAO. The DAO's called BiblioDAO. And that's it, really.
All right, so I'm Jank. I'm the principal investigator from AW Research. We're hosting a hacker house in London right now. And yeah, more about that. Probably I'm the best one on the Survivor leaderboard out of about 4, right?
Definitely.
Okay, cool. So
Of the 4.
I had a higher score than you.
yeah, probably, but yeah, as you can see, like,
Are you even on the top 10 anymore, though?
yeah, probably. I'm waiting for the 44 for me to play more games. Yeah, so yeah, we play games, we build games, we help others to build games. That's what we do.
Hi everyone, my name is Taylor. I guess I have several titles. I guess day job, I'm head of ecosystem and investment for Mask Network. It's a social project. Night job, I guess I have been evangelizing loot for very long, and that's how I got into the Realm ecosystem. I also run a fully on-chain game discussion group in Chinese. That's like the most active throughout the world, and lots of the Realm contributors. I also got those people onto Realm onto loot. So yes, that's a pretty big part of my night job. Yes, I play lots of on-chain games too. Not only the loot ones. I also like Primordium and Skystrife. But overall, I'm like a fully on-chain game maxi, and looking forward to the discussion today.
Amazing, thank you. Taylor, the Lord of Loot. So first off, what's your favorite on-chain game?
So, I think in terms of hours put into an on-chain game, it's easily Loot Survivor, which is the, I think, first fully on-chain game to ship to mainnet on Starknet in, I think, November of last year. And it's a kind of nostalgic but roguelike on-chain strategy game. And it's about, equipping loot and making strategic decisions to try and get the biggest score you can by killing beasts and avoiding traps. And that game, I think, had us hooked in as a team from like the testnet stages, and I'm still playing up until this day pretty regularly, even though pre-blobs it's pretty expensive at the moment, but post-blobs after 2 p.m. today it'll hopefully be a lot cheaper. But the game that I'm actually most excited about is a game that I play tested yesterday. It's currently kind of like playtest season in the Realms. There's like 7 games that are going into kind of the playtesting time. And yesterday, there's a team that's building inside of the Realms called Zcore. Zcore have created a game called Z Conqueror, and that game is like a kind of faithful but on-chain version of Risk, which is a board game that I loved, or still do love, and have played a hell of a lot of. So I can see that becoming my favorite game, but it's a hard choice. There's so many games sort of being built inside of the Realms, and we're doing a lot of playtesting at the moment, and I think our favorites will change day by day.
All right, so since we are here, we have to say Loot Survivor, but yeah, besides that, I'm gonna say I have like 3 top candidates. Shoshin being the first, second Dope War, and the last one probably Primordium. So I picked it from like same thesis, same scope, or same approach we had. So I don't know how many of you guys have been played Dark Force ever. Can you raise your hand? All right, cool. No, but I mean like putting on-chain games or say why on-chain games is a like cliche question every time we're bump into these type of question, right? But Dope War probably be the first game to integrate Uniswap X, Uniswap V2, like AMM kind of stuff for the very first time. But the game design itself is all about swapping and speculating, arbitraging in some way. So Primordium is kind of like, okay, you do play a little bit, and also you trade a lot of stuff. Actually, like the top player from iLeague doesn't play that much. They just do trading. And they are like the Degen Gamer Alliance or something, but they are the best in Primordium right now. And one of the executions is Shoshin, because Shoshin is not designed to be played by real human beings. They are more like, okay, so on-chain agent, it will be the next part, but you are going to build an agent, a robot, a script to play for you. And I think that's something you cannot do it off-chain, because from our scope, I don't like games to put it on-chain for the sake of on-chain. For whatever reason, like you have gas fees, everything transparent, privacy, whatever, but the game should not be on-chain because you don't need it. You can play it on Steam, Epic, whatever ways to find your customers, but you just don't need it on-chain. But the game I just talked about, I think, has to be on-chain. If there ain't no chain, there will not be that kind of game. That's why I'm picking those.
Sure. Is it my favorite or like why on-chain or like mix of
Like
both?
the favorite right now, because I know you are going to say Loot Survivor.
I'm actually, well, I'll say Loot Survivor too, but like my top pick or like number one pick is probably Primordium. The reason for so first a little bit about the experience of it. It's like a space SLG game that's a little bit similar to Dark Forest, but I think Jink just raised the question whether any of us here played Dark Forest before, and it looks like that's a no. So I guess the Dark Forest reference probably doesn't ring enough bell to the audience here. But yes, Dark Forest is like the OG, the first real on-chain game that was created about 3.5 years ago, and had a pretty crazy and fervent audience even like 3 years ago, and part of like how ZK got into what it is today. But back to Primordium, it has pretty complete design, I would say, compared to all other on-chain games. Although like on-chain game overall is in a more early stage. So what we have right now is that, well, Loot Survivor here is already on mainnet, and the other like the mod affiliated ones, Primordium and Skystraff maybe also have like over 1,000 users. Still pretty early stage, right? Loot Survivor also like maybe 2,000 overall users, a little bit more than that. So that shows how early we are compared to Web 2 games, compared to Web 2.5 GameFi games. So 2,000 is like the max number we already have now. Compare those like low usage games across the board right now. Primordium, in my opinion, it has the most complete design. You can actually hang on to it for over a week. That's what I've been doing for the past 3 editions of that games. You can build your own planet. You can attack others. You can enter into alliance. I was in Jinx Alliance last time, I think, but not in this one yet. Overall, it's a relatively complete game that don't really remind you of that. Okay, it's an on-chain game. So I guess that's usually the good part, right? Like you don't want to get reminded all the time that you are playing on-chain game. You have to sign in transactions and stuff all the time. That's pretty time consuming and detrimental to user experience. So I guess I've laid out my reason on Primordium, that it's been the relatively most complete experience for on-chain games right now. I guess I also have to talk about Loot Survivor too, but in a very different context. I mentioned in the beginning that I came from Loot initially, like I'm one of the very few holders of Loot and early Loot derivatives that's still active and stayed active like in almost 2 years, 2 years and a half. That's not exactly a common thing, but so does Loot Survivor, because Loot Survivor is created by a guy called Loot Hero, and that guy was one of the early Loot contributor and Loot derivative designer, founder, and he also he figured out all the numbers behind the Loot contract and take all those like numbers set into the new game Loot Survivor that was created last year. So it's a super good example of paying homage to the original Loot contract and the nice lineage of the scene. I've been telling a lot of people that the fully on-chain game has like two ancestors, sort of. One being Dark Forest and the other being Loot. Now that Loot is mostly associated with Starknet, I'll talk about Loot Survivor, right? So that's a nice connection between like the original Loot contract to the current Starknet on-chain Loot game. That's the cultural lineage, the inheritance of all the numbers, all the Loot heritage. That's the reason I like Loot Survivor, although it's being in other people's eyes, it might be a relatively simple game, but it does its job very well.
Amazing, thank you. And also, great shout out to Loot Hero. He's the GOAT. So next up, the word of the kind of year when it comes to on-chain games is autonomous worlds. I'm sure you've all heard of it. But one of the things when you look up autonomous worlds is there's no real definition or a single place you can point and go, this is an autonomous world. There you go. So what I'd really like to ask you guys is what is your definition of an autonomous world? And what do you vision an autonomous world being? So I guess to you first, again.
So for me, an autonomous world is an on-chain reality. It's a reality that couldn't exist without the blockchain. So it has properties that if you put something on a centralized server, it has entirely different properties to something put on a centralized server. So rather than be a walled garden to which only certain people can contribute when they've given permission, an autonomous world is a world that lives on chain that it's a completely open system, it's open data, anyone can come along and they can see the state of the autonomous world, which is smart contracts running on the chain. And so anyone can see them at any time, and anyone can come along and they can add at any time. So they can see that a world contract exists, for example, in the realms on the L3 we're going to run. And they can see that there's a world in there which has resource production, it has agents inside of it, it has kind of games and experiences all just running on the chain and completely open to everybody. And an autonomous world allows anyone in the world to come along and add to that. So rather than your kind of your Fortnite world where you go to Epic and say, can I do something in your game world? With an autonomous world, it's permissionless, anyone can build on there. And so that means the original dev team could get nuked or disappear, and it simply doesn't matter because anyone else can come along and pick up the construction of that world. And so I think that what we're going to see with this kind of new paradigm of world building, where anyone can add to it at any time, is just completely novel experiences. And I think it's almost like a simulation of meat space, in the sense that to design an autonomous world, you have to do all the crazy things you have to do when you're designing a compelling game, which is sort out the governance, the economics, the social layer, make people care. And so all of this stuff now with the blockchain can be done on a completely shared substrate. So that's a really, really long way of saying that it's an on-chain reality and it's a new paradigm in the sense that it's completely open So that's kind of my take.
All right, so for me, I think the buzzwords will be like permissionless, tokenomics, and interoperability, composability, then like unstoppable game with smart contract as the backend. But those are buzzwords. I'm so fed up with that, and you can go to our like Twitter account, Mirror account, and find those kind of things. But I'm gonna take all the guys' audience to down the memory train a little bit. So Vitalik actually established the whole East ecosystem because his character in World of Warcraft got nerfed, right? So I would say like the first stage of Autonomous Worlds will be a decentralized World of Warcraft or other kind of like MMORPG kind of game because you do have a autonomous world kind of thing and also you have your meat space. But everything will interact with each other. Like say, okay, you are too centralized maybe, and then I just try to DAO it, and I decide to DAO it. It also happens to all the autonomous worlds as well, because everything is forkable, probably open source. I cannot imagine any fully on-chain game that's not open source actually, because that's like gated garden and also kind of like, okay, IP licensing is not what we are talking about here. And so autonomous worlds for me, yeah, the first stage will be a decentralized World of Warcraft, and then I was saying like games not designed for human beings, for on-chain art agents, or maybe like for scripts, for people to watch rather than for people to play. Because right now, I would say in 2024, everybody is so busy, so fed up, and what we are competing with is not GameFi, not Steam, not Epic. We're competing with Twitter, Instagram, and also probably TikTok. TikTok is not banned here, right?
No.
Okay, cool. So yeah, what we are actually doing is when you are doing like swaps on Inquimable, don't let them slide into their DMs, try to like scrolling down on their TikTok, whatever. Yeah, let's just play some games, live in a world, interact with whatever happening with yourself, around you. Maybe some governance game, some whatever like trivia game, whatever, all kinds of games. It can build a autonomous worlds with composability and interoperability together, and also your on-chain identity. That's what we are picturing here.
Sure. I guess the way I usually do it is two ways I do it. First is go by the, I guess, textbook definition. The second is throwing examples. By textbook definition, I'd like to refer back to the essay written by Ludens, founder of Mud. He's also the creator of the term autonomous world. And to simply break it down, a world, it's not only like the entire world. It could also be like a smaller scale world, like say Disney is a world, like Harry Potter is a world, or whatever IP could be a world. So that's the world part. The autonomous part, I guess we're already familiar with the word autonomous in the context of like the DAO, decentralized autonomous organization, right? So yes, the autonomous here, it means that it's like governed by the participants, and once like the governance decision is made, like it's like automatically executed, that kind of stuff, right? And put an IP into the DAO context, it actually feels like you pause for a second and feel like, okay, this sounds like a game, right? But it also has a slightly different meaning to it. The example I usually throw out there is a little bit different. So the Western example I use is Game of Thrones. The Eastern example I'll use is Three Kingdoms for any of the East Asia audience here. The reason I'm using this is because Game of Thrones, while we all know it's a TV series and it has the original book, A Song of Ice and Fire, and it also has derivatives, right? There aren't that many games built on top of it, but I guess we can imagine that different kind of games built on top of it. The Eastern counterpart, Three Kingdoms, it's like the top book in Chinese history, like one of the top 4. It also has thousands of games built on top of it, with different styles, different themes, SLGs, like MMO, RPGs, or whatever, like all sorts of games using the common theme, use the same characters. I think using the same character, using the same maybe land or city, that's a pretty good showcase of what autonomous world could be, in the sense that, let's say we have 100 games, all using characters like Daenerys Targaryen or Jon Snow. The characters are interoperable across those games, and they are, but they still affiliate or like follow the same Game of Thrones IP, and that IP, that's an autonomous world with different games inside it. I think that would be a pretty good example of autonomous world, in my sense.
Amazing, thank you. So next, following up on that, I know you said you didn't want to speak about taboo words, Drink, but I'm going to press you on taboo words.
All right, cool.
A lot of affordances are brought up when it comes to on-chain gaming and autonomous worlds. And you mentioned a few there between you. You talked about verifiability a little bit there, about being able to reconstruct the state of the game, composability, and being able to carry your characters through different parts of the game, which is fantastic. But what I'd like to ask you guys is, what affordance does on-chain games and autonomous worlds bring, which excites you the most and really showcases why we're doing this? So I guess I'll go to you first, as you said you didn't want to speak about it.
Yeah, okay. So talking about affordance as we speak is about, to unlock whatever blockchain already brought us. Because, people been asking, like, what's the killer app of blockchain? Some people say Bitcoin, some people say, like, stable coins, some people say DeFi, and maybe, for Taylor, he probably gonna say fully on-chain games, but Dojo gaming engine is going to be the compound moment for whatever fully on-chain game and autonomous worlds will be. But for me, I say, just follow the guidelines, like how people really interact in a day, and also smart contract as the back end. How's that gonna be? Like, right now we are around 4 hours around 4844, and then we will see like tons of on-chain transactions. Like those Web2 giants are trying to, proliferate monetizing from the on-chain database, from like the personal profile, whatever. And now there you have it. Because before that, if I do a transaction on layer 1, probably it's going to cost me like $5 or something. But now, boom, we have Starknet, right? And then like, okay, the transaction fee, the gas fee is totally cut in, and I can use Stark to pay for my gas fees. And then I'm so willing to showcase like who I really is, or say, what kind of like interactions, what kind of life I'm living. And after that, it will be the simulation of the real world, or say the me space. Because now, I just want to mention one of the features I'm front rolling, and a spoiler alert, it will be in Loot Survivor V2, is by Starknet app, right? And you can actually generate a QR code or say URL and hand it to your friend. All the gas fees with the native account abstraction will be covered by me rather than my friends. It will lower the barrier for on-chain games and on-chain transactions so much that I think probably we will have like 100x in the AU or something. So that's what we are talking about, affordability and what we can bring to the on-chain game space or say industry. Thank you.
I'll continue. I just realized that the previous example I throw in, I forgot to add the loot part. And that's actually also answer the affordance question, in the sense that I was talking about using Daenerys Targaryen in 100 Game of Thrones games, right? In Web 2, those Game of Thrones games will be created by different companies, and those Jon Snow or characters are not going to be the same, right? But in Web3, especially within the loot world, the affordance we're already seeing actually right now is that loot itself, being the character, can be used across different loot games, right? And the difference is the loot, those loot characters, it's going to be the same across different games. But although those games are developed by different company, be a company or be a DAO or be a whatever studio, right? I think that's a pretty big difference between Web 2 games, Web 2.5 game, and the fully Onchain game or autonomous world. The other thing I want to mention is that, wait, what do I want to say?
Side chat.
I think I kind of blank on it. You guys may want to.
So for me, the affordance is, I think the way I think about this is that, gaming is the world's biggest leisure activity. Or entertainment activity. Maybe going to the gym is the world's biggest leisure activity. I don't know, but it's the biggest form of entertainment. And every something like 10 years, there's a big disruption in the gaming space, from arcades to at-home PCs to consoles to mobile free-to-play, and it's actually gaming's due a big kind of disruption. And what's happened in the last kind of era is mobile free-to-play gaming, which has had like a completely different business model to buying a $70 or £60 game from a shop and taking it home and playing it. It's more like you come along and there's thousands of games seeking your attention. They're mostly pretty similar, and you kind of get hooked into one, and you might be a whale who spends quite a lot of money in that game, or you might spend nothing. Now that kind of commoditization of gaming is it's a kind of death spiral. Most of the money ends up going to the advertisers and the platforms like the Apple Store or Google Play. With on-chain gaming, where everything's on the blockchain, you're removing those rent sitters straight away. And you've also got this entirely new way of developers reaching players, and there being like microtransactions between them, which are completely impossible like today until 2 o'clock this afternoon, and then actually become completely possible again, assuming the blobs deliver what we hope they do deliver. So you've kind of got this sort of convergence of cheap transactions on chain and a completely open environment upon which people can build games, completely different business model to the kind of dominant gaming business model at the moment. And so you've kind of got this really fertile ground for something completely new, completely innovative, and that's why I think that we're really excited about building on-chain games and autonomous worlds, because there's a completely different design space. One of the really cool things about the Realms, to talk about the sort of DAO that I contribute to, is that, you've got the people who everyone knows in the DAO are builders, working on all the different projects, and it's like, wow, they produce really cool stuff. The other thing is the people who pop out of nowhere and deliver something completely out of the blue, and it blows everyone's mind, because they've just been sort of quietly working away in a cave, a bit like this one. I think that's the new paradigm. You've got this, decentralized network which anyone can build on at any time, anywhere in the world. You don't have to know the right people. You don't have to worry about IP. You don't have to do anything. There's no cost of entry. So if you've got an idea, you can just go ahead and build it. And you can stealth build it, and you can surprise people with it. You can mod something. You can mix and match different open source game modules. And that's what we're going to see with Dojo. So Dojo, just to explain, is the on-chain gaming engine that is building on Starknet. It's audited, it's stable. There's tons of games built inside of the Dojo ecosystem. Realms is using the Starknet and Dojo tech stack, so there's composability across all the game worlds that are being built on Dojo, including the Realms and including Dope Wars and Dope DAO. So like there's this, people say Cambrian explosion, but like, for me, the affordance, to get back to the question, the affordance is just like, all of a sudden, a completely new model for producing games where anyone can contribute at any time to the network. Cool ideas can come from anywhere. People can get funded by putting something on chain and getting paid back immediately. So no VCs, so you don't have to worry about going and raising capital. You can just produce something good on chain and get paid for it. There's like so many disruptive elements to on-chain gaming, and it's just been neutered because it's been so bloody expensive. But as I say, like there should be a countdown to blobs, where Volition, again another network upgrade, where all of a sudden on-chain gaming becomes incredibly viable. And I think the Starknet, Starkware, and Starknet Foundation, all agree that gaming is going to be a huge consumer of block space in the next, 6, 12, 18 months, and then forever. So that's a massive dump of information.
That was great.
Stealthed into the question.
Thank you. So something you alluded to earlier, Taylor, was to do with how niche on-chain gaming is currently in the autonomous world ecosystem and whatnot. There's maybe a few thousand players a day overall, the entire ecosystem. Obviously, we want more than that. How do you guys vision us expanding out to 10K, 100K, 1 million DAUs within the on-chain gaming space?
Sure, that's a great question. I think, and it's going to be a pretty big question that has to be tackled on multiple fronts. First, we talked about infra not exactly ready, right? We're waiting for the blocks to come in, and from what I know, that the blob improvement is not as great as expected. Like it's more closer to like 5x improvement compared to like previously expected, like 10 to 20. That's at least what I heard. But still, it's going to make the cost a lot lower still. Like before that, I think Starknet transaction is like maybe 50 cents. 5x is still like 10 cents, right? And from what I remember, average like whosoever cost or like the number of transactions is over 100. So 100 times like 10 cents is still like $10. So it's not that great, but it's getting there, I would say. And we also have like additional layer 3 development on top of layer 2s, right? That can also bring costs down. Or if you don't want to put all the DA stuff onto Ethereum, you have alternative DA solutions, including Avail, including Celestia, right? That could also bring down the cost a lot. So that's the mental model for cost and for infra. That's on infra, there's another major component to it is wallet, right? Starknet has native account abstraction, but not the EVM ones. The Ethereum guys, EVM guys are working on 4337. That's trying to eliminate all the private key stuff, so that people can log in with email, right? That's also a big part of your user onboarding journey. So that's the infra part. I guess we should also talk about the audience. Audience, it could like I mentioned, Lucera probably at like 2,000 on Starknet mainnet. The other games are still mostly testnet, right? And that also begs the question: who are those like 2,000 people? Who are those 2,000 people? The answer is they are like Ethereum core users. Like they even in all those bull market, they choose to play on-chain games. That user experience is not as great compared to like regular games. Instead of like gambling on Solana or on Ethereum or whatever, right? The bull market scene is they have so many other profitable things to do, but yeah, they choose to play FOCG. Sure. Okay. We chose to play FOCG, right? So target core users.
You could continue. Sorry.
Sure. I'll finish relatively quick. Still, the core users are your best friends. Like the mercenaries, they want to get money. Right now, they're still not your best friend. They'll come when the tokenomics, when the infra is more ready, when there are like, I mean, Lords has token, but it's not the I guess play to earn type of token that those mercenary players are looking after, right? So yes, the tokenomics needs to mature, infra needs to mature before attracting outside users. I think talk to like go to the core users first is still like the main thing right now.
All right, I'm gonna cut everything short. So to all the people here talking about first billion user, about blockchain, we are not only talking about Starknet, we are talking about blockchain. But like, it's a meme. Everybody knows that, first billion user. Before that, I think what Starknet actually did a pretty great, perfect job is ECMP. And yeah, when we are talking about DAUs, what about DADs? Daily active developers. If you don't have first million developers, they're never gonna be the first billion users. So right now we have the Starknet gaming committee, we have more airdrops, maybe, I don't know. I'm not from the committee, but yeah, they announced they have like 50 million Stark ready to ship. So that's how we get our first million DAD, right? That's it.
Yeah, I echo that you need to attract the developers to create the experiences to attract the users. There are, if the question is how do we get more people to participate in on-chain gaming and join autonomous worlds, well, I think you need to think about barriers and how to make things more attractive than those barriers so that they come. And often that there's emotional incentives and financial, sort of rational incentives. And I think that things like the 50 million Stark, which is something like $120 million, is a really cool rational incentive. People will look at that and they'll be like, okay, I'll go over there because there's money for me to be made. And then it's our job then as a developer ecosystem and game designers and game developers is to kind of create the experiences that make it very sticky so that then once these kind of incentives stop, then you have emotional incentives to go and join that network. So your friends are there, the games are there, the social network is there, all of that stuff. But yeah, the first wave of people is going to be people like us who are on-chainy, who get into the vibe of it and enjoy kind of like pioneering, and who care about the underlying tech and all of that stuff. But the next wave is going to be, and I kind of use this sort of like pub-based analogy, and it's really helpful here because there's a pub here today and we're in London today. But the pub analogy is, if you go and catch up with a friend and they say to you, what are you watching, what are you playing right now? And if you could say to them, oh man, I'm playing this really cool game. I'm playing, Z Conqueror, or I'm playing, Loot Survivor, and they're like, what's that? And then you can get your phone out and say, just scan that QR code and have a game. That's where we kind of want to get to, where the UX is just butter smooth. To take that example of like, I have a QR code of the game on my phone, I show it to Gink scans it and he plays. In the background, with Realms, for example, that could be, Realms is going to run on its own L3, so we'll be settling onto L2, we'll be settling on Starknet, obviously Starknet settles onto L1. But with the Realms world L3, the gas token will be the Lord's token. And also the currency of the ecosystem to play games is the Lord's token. So from our perspective, I can really imagine a world in the not too distant future where that QR code on my phone, which Gink then scans, that drops a wallet into the secure enclave in his phone. And also, we use Paymaster and account abstraction to dump 10 Lords in there, which is, enough for him to play 3 games. And there's like 7 games that are, as I say, are in playtesting at the moment. There's one that's live. There's a massive one coming in Q2. There's loads of games always being added to the ecosystem. When he scans that QR code, the app downloads to his phone, the wallet drops into his secure enclave. He doesn't care about that. He doesn't even need to know about it. The Lords get sent to that device, to his wallet rather, and now he can just play that game that I've told him about, and he doesn't have to know about gas. He's even got some free credit to play from the Lords, and that, I think, when it's friend-get-friend virality, which is the way that people share what they're watching on Netflix, or the thing they're into right now, or the book they're into, the game they're playing, I think that's when we get to the next level of users. And I think that, why would people play an on-chain game versus a Web 2 game? It's just because if it's novel and good, and I think that because of the different design space and the fact that it's open, permissionless, there's just, all of a sudden, there's just a whole wave of, we're staring at this like big wall of innovation that's like literally just there, and you can't see it, but it's going to slam us, like a kind of wave. And there's just going to be lots of new types of games and new types of interactions. So that's how I kind of see it. It'll be Web3 natives until we get to the point where the UX is really good and we've got some really cool ideas in games, and then we can go after mainstream audiences. And also, the DeFi, the gaming, the fact that the gaming provision is 50 million tokens and that the DeFi provision is 50 million tokens, I think says a lot about what the foundation feels about the importance of on-chain gaming on Starknet. And I think that, if you've got your head in your bum about autonomous worlds and on-chain gaming, this is the time to remove head from bum and maybe head to realms.world to have a little look at what we were up to. Check out what these guys are up to with their, they're putting together lots of great content about what is being built across the space, not just on the things they're working on. Yeah, that's me.
No, that was great, thank you. I think, as you say, one of the main sticking points is I can't show any of my friends on-chain games so far. Until actually yesterday, I played a round of Z Conqueror with my friend, and he actually liked it, so that was cool. Lastly, I guess, to drill down on what you guys mentioned about the Gaming Council, with 50 million Starks, which is quite a significant amount of cash. One, I'd like to get your guys' opinion on what impact that might have on the ecosystem, and also how you guys would like to see that council enacted and what you vision they should be doing in the future. I guess, Taylor,
Sure. So I think 50 million Stark, that's definitely big numbers, right? And hopefully it's going to be allocated to the right person, to the right team. The part I didn't talk about, but I'm going to talk about a little bit, is that I'm also starting a new gaming, both gaming project and gaming chain within the Starknet ecosystem that will also be loot focused. It's called Verse. The name actually came from what we call Lootverse. Well, it's a paying homage to the metaverse back in the days, but I think Verse itself is a pretty good name. We have a pretty reasonable lineup of like especially Eastern on-chain game developers that originated pretty much from my discussion group talking about FOCG for the past year. They're pretty fervent about it, and I think and in general historically, lots of stuff, like be it internet or even before internet days, right? It's produced by the East. Like China has been known as like the world factory and stuff. Same in the gaming industry. So I think output from them is going to be really good. So I'm going to fight for them, trying to get hands onto those stocks. That's I guess from my part of my perspective. Overall, in competition landscape point of view, I think the DeFi committee has like 40 million stock, right? And now the game one has 50, and has a pretty clear emphasis on fully on-chain games compared to I know like lots of other chains focus a lot on games in general. That has been pretty much like widely consensus thing in crypto, but FOCG is definitely not to that kind of consensus yet. So 15 million mostly for FOCGs. That's a huge milestone, and that puts Starknet onto a pretty good position because others aren't focusing on it that much. Starknet is putting a lot of emphasis on this. I think that's a really important competitive edge that will likely drive more developer onto Starknet. That's my quick one.
So it's 50 million in both. That was my FUD. I accidentally I tweeted that yesterday. It was 40 million versus 50 million, but then I was corrected. It's 50 million
also
for
50?
each. Yeah.
Okay.
What I would like to see the DeFi, the gaming committee do with the 50 million Stark. So it's a lot of money. It's $120 million worth of Stark as it stands today. I think that something that the Realms, like the DAO has done, is to kind of create a grant programming thing called Front in His House, where there's a kind of pipeline. So if a game, if an individual or a small team enters one of the game jams or hackathons that we run, they do well, then they come afterwards and they participate in a grant round that's funded with Lords by the DAO. And the DAO has 150 million Lords, and that's worth another $50 million, depends on the moment you look at the chart. So, we are actively funding teams. As I said, there's actually, over the next 6 weeks, 7 different play tests from teams who have come out of that system. So I'd love to see the foundation bolster that kind of activity where, grassroots, bottom-up developers come into our ecosystem. They have a clear progression path. We can actually nurture talent and pick talent, but also they self-select by doing cool things. So I'd like to see that. I'd also like to see, obviously, a good chunk spent on actually recruiting people to cross the chasm from MetaMask into Argent or Bravos. They're good wallets when you get there, but obviously it's still a UX hurdle. So got to do that. Again, something else that we're doing at Realms is a studio alignment program where, after a grant round, the next big step is for people to say, right, okay, we want to form a relationship with the Realms network, because the network is a network where no one owns it. It's 8,000 NFTs that basically operate that network. So it's not a centralized party. It's credible. And so inside of that network, there's like nodes, which are studios, which are players, which are developers, which are contributors of all types, AI developers, whatever they might be. And so we would, again, when we're doing things like the Studio Alignment Partnership, where game studios can come along and actually seek to do their own private round of funding, but in combination with a grant from, or like a Lords allocation from the DAO, so that it really locks in talent for the long term to produce more and more quality games inside of the network we're building, this open source, decentralized network. So I'd also love to see some of those tokens go towards supporting that, because I think that it has the potential to really be a step change to the quantity and quality of games inside of the Starknet ecosystem. And now we're getting doors opening.
All right.
Are we going to get dropped through the stage? The doors to hell.
So if Jink, you want to go last, and
All right,
we have 1 minute.
I'll be the bad guy, throw some heat. I think, we already talked about it amount, and I think the most important thing here is about distribution. So as all we know like OP guys do the retro PGF, but it's impossible for a still indie game developer or a small studio to wait for a year and then apply for the grants. So I was saying like small epochs and small milestones, get aligned and then get funded. That's what I'm supposed and what I depict for Starknet gaming community to distribute the cash, actually.
Amazing, very concise. Congrats. I think that's everything. So thanks for speaking and thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you.
Check out realms.well.
Thank you guys for this wonderful and insightful topic for on-chain games. Thank you very much.